All right, so arguments at the Supreme Court of Appeal continue this evening. Our reporter Aviwe Mtila is there. We will cross back as soon as there's anything significant to report. And after 7 o'clock, we speak to legal expert Professor Kathy Powell for her views on the importance of this particular appeal. But let's move now to the Northwest Province. It took a long time. There were disruptions, delays and court cases. But in the early hours of this morning, the ANC in the Northwest Province got their results. Nono Maloyi was elected the chairperson, beating current Premier Bushy Maape. Well, let's find out what this means for the province and the party. I'm joined by political analyst Professor Andre Duvenhage. Prof, thank you so much for joining us. So, Nono Maloyi has beaten Bushy Maape. How likely is it that Bushy Maape, who is the Premier, may do what Sihle Zikalala did in KwaZulu-Natal when he lost the ANC chairpersonship in that province and resign and maybe give way for Nono Maloyi to become the Premier of Northwest?
Good evening, Sally. Yes, indeed, it is a possibility, although I believe that Mr. Nono Maloyi will go the other way. He will rather keep continuity, I believe, until at least the national conference. I think to take out the Premier at this point, after a very short period that he took over from Job Mogoro, I don't think that will be the right move also when it comes to unity within the province. My take on it is more likely for Mr. Nono Maloyi to do this at a later stage, most probably in the build-up to the 2024 elections.
I have to ask you about these charges against Nono Maloyi. They date back, I think, to a 2018 culpable homicide case. It's been provisionally withdrawn by the NPA. But in fact, I think it was Northwest's Bojanala region that argued for that reason, because they could be reinstated, he shouldn't actually stand. How serious do you think that issue could be for him?
Well, I had conversations with people close to Mr. Nono Maloyi, and they believe that this is not that serious. However, we must take into consideration that the principle of step aside where people are being charged, that should be applied in a consistent way. And that is applicable to Mr. Nono Maloyi as it is applicable to Ace Magashule and to Ramaphosa, for that matter. So yes, I think there is a risk where there are court cases and prosecution at stake. There's always a risk, but I am rating this at a lower level. I believe that this case will most probably be settled in another way. What is important, and maybe even more important than the legal position, is unity within the structures of the 4, maybe 5 years. And that is very, very critical to keep the coherence in the province. The province is falling apart, and I believe that Mr. Nono Maloyi is a critical, important role player in this regard. However, all of us are equal before the law, as we see with Mr. Old President Jacob Zuma. So the law is applicable to him, but I think his group believe that they can manage this situation for the better.
Yeah, as you point out, the Northwest has been in a real mess. In fact, I think since 2018, in fact, before that, because we saw the unrest, the unhappiness with service delivery, and eventually Supra Mahumapelo was removed as Premier and then as ANC chair in the province. Of course, he's still around. We'll get to that in a minute. But talk to me about what this province needs and whether someone like Nono Maloyi has got the political chops and the savvy to create a sense of unity and actually help get things done in the province.
I think at the core of the problems in Northwest lies the disunity within the ANC structures, the faction fights, and then the leadership of a person like Mr. Supra Mahumapelo, who was basically part of the bigger state capture, Ace Magashule type of rule. And this cost the province a lot. Job Mogoro tried his utmost to realign the process, but he didn't have the support. Bushy Maape was very strong, but not very long in his position as leader. He had the support base from the ANC. But now at this point, we have a legitimate leader who has majority support of most of the reasons. And it's also interesting that Mr. Supra Mahumapelo did align with Nono Maloyi. So that is a very interesting development. I'm not 100% sure what this meant for the national alignments, because I'm reading Mr. Mahumapelo within the RET group, and I'm reading Mr. Nono Maloyi closer to Paul Mashatile, Didi Mabuza, and by implication, the Ramaphosa camp. So that will be interesting. So strong leadership first. Then secondly, we need to deal with major challenges within the province. It has to do with the implosion of structures, high levels of corruption, poor levels of service delivery, lack of oversight, lack of financial management, corruption, all of this. We need a comprehensive reform of the province to take it to another level. Just one interesting statistic, between 1999 and 2018, the majority of Article 139 interventions from province to local government was within the Northwest, a number of 46. And the interesting thing is, it didn't help anyway to deal with the problems. At the end of the day, even the province were put under administration.
So, you know, I was looking also, there's still no clean audits for any municipality in the Northwest, but some sense that things are getting marginally better in areas. I mean, you live in that area. Tell me, is it actually getting better? Is it getting worse, or is it just staying the same?
No, it's without any doubt getting worse. I can speak from Potchefstroom, and I can tell you there are currently more potholes in the streets of Potchefstroom than ever before. Fortunately, they start dealing with it in the last month or two. When it comes to a place like Klerksdorp, you cannot enter the city center because it is too dangerous. If you look at some of the smaller towns, it is pure decay. You cannot even drive through the roads in some of these towns. So I think when it comes to Northwest, there are really serious and major challenges. And we need to deal with this in a proper way. And hopefully we are heading in the right direction. I believe that the new leadership should co-opt other interest groups like the university, like other political parties, like the mining sector, in order to rebuild a province in decay.
Thank you so much for your insights. Always great to chat to you. Political analyst Professor Andre Duvenhage, they're coming to us from the Northwest Province, just breaking down the importance of what happened over the weekend with the ANC elective conference in the Northwest. Let's move now.